from different players of women entrepreneurial ecosystem from different corners of the world. So let me leave the floor one by one to our distinguished speakers today. And it will be good to hear a few words about you and your business. And let's move to Zeynep Demir. Let's start from left to right. Yes, Ms. Demir.
Okay. First of all, I am really excited to be here, to have the opportunity to present one of our flagship projects of KADEM. KADEM is a women's rights organization in Turkey. They are supporting also young entrepreneurs, women entrepreneurs, to build their own businesses. I am a communication expert in the board of KADEM since one or a little bit more year. I have lived for many years in Germany, worked for many well-known brands in field of marketing, communication, etc. No, I am professionally in a chamber of commerce in Turkey, for a German chamber of commerce in Turkey, responsible for the whole membership. And voluntarily, I am in the board of KADEM. If you allow, I would like to share my screen with you to give a short...
Let's listen to other speakers and then come to the presentations part. Thank you, Madam Demir. And Ms. Ibikun Avosika, Chairwoman, First Nigeria Bank.
Okay, it's called First Bank of Nigeria. Thank you very much. And well, first and foremost, even though I'm the chair of a 125-year-old bank, which is the largest, one of the largest in Africa and in Nigeria, it's I'm an entrepreneur in my everyday life. I have spent the last 32 years building a manufacturing group in furniture and security systems. And my passion involves solving issues of national development, of women's participation in the economy, and of engaging positively the young population of my country and anywhere around the world to maximize their capacity and their potential. And that's a major part of my work. I'm a co-founder of the largest women's organization in Nigeria. It's called Women in Management, Business and Public Service, WIMBIZ. And I think that's a 20-year-old organization that we founded, which has become quite amazing at creating the right space for Nigerian women to be in leadership across various platforms, whether it's in business, whether it's in the political system, or whether it's in enterprise development. And I've had the pleasure of working with Dr. Ashim, as he's a great friend of mine. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Avosika, and thank you for your efforts to include women in the Nigerian economy. And Madam Yong Eun Nak, Vice President, Women in Science, Engineering and Technology in Korea.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jung Eun-na. I'm a Vice President of Women in Science, Engineering and Technology in Korea. So I'm a panelist in panel 2. And I'm also a professor at Yonsei University for IT computer science department. So I can show you many experience with you. I have joining the Yonsei University. I have an industry background. I worked for Accenture and IBM for 10 years, and after that, I joined the university, and I'm teaching, and I'm still learning from the student and from the world. Thank you so much. I'm very
Thank you.
pleased to join with you today.
Thank you very much for joining us. Dr. Abla Abdel Latif, Executive Director, Egyptian Center for Economic Studies. Dr. Abla Latif, please.
Well, hello everyone. I'm very glad to be here with you on this panel. Let me just introduce you. Okay. I'm from Egypt, obviously. I'm originally a professor of economics with interest in development and trade. I'm currently the executive director of the Egyptian Center for Economic Studies. It's an NGO specialized in research. I'm also the chairperson of the Economic Advisory Board to the President. My interest has always been and will always be in achieving sustainable development for Egypt, whatever takes us in this direction, and sustainable development in the sense of combining economic growth and social justice, because one without the other really doesn't work. I've also had the pleasure and honor to be a member of the group of 50 that wrote the Egyptian Constitution back in 2014, where the interest in women in general was actually very high, as well as the interest in the economy. And I've also worked with Dr. Hashim and his team previously. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Thank you very much for joining us today. And moving to Madam Pakinam El Halabai, Project Manager of Microfinance Institution.
Hello, everyone. I'm so pleased to participate in such an event today with ICYF and UNIDO. Actually, I'm working in the regional office of ICCIA in Cairo, Egypt, and I'm responsible of the media and communication with the French-speaking countries of OIC members in ICCIA. And also I'm working on the project of microfinance institutions to be established in G5 Sahel countries in the upcoming period. I will talk today about the project of ICCIA about establishment of microfinance institutions.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. Now, promoting gender equality and including more women in economic development of countries is a major issue at the G20 level. And my institution, World Business Angels Investment Forum, is as an affiliated partner of the G20 Global Partnership for Financial Inclusion, has now been preparing a report to G20 leaders as policy recommendations for best practices and how we can include more women in economies. And we need more women inclusion in economies in pandemic business and environment. So I want to move to Korea, and I want to learn what is your institution doing to ease access to finance for women entrepreneurs, and what is the situation, for example, in Korea for women entrepreneurs, and are there any specific issues you want to share with us about the challenges of women entrepreneurs, especially in this pandemic environment? Because women are not only entrepreneurs, they are mothers, they are businesswomen, they are working outside, so they are trying to make many things at the same time Yes, what would be your insights about this, Miss Young?
Okay, thank you. Following the prevention of guideline of for the pandemic situation in our country, we work at home or keep the social distancing guidelines. Small group program are still running on, but large scale meetings are not conducted right now. I think the computers are the necessary and inevitable tools for all industries. So IT skills are needed not only in real life, but also throughout the whole industry. So in particular, artificial intelligence and big data processing are really necessary in any industry. So it would be great to create educational program so that especially the young people can run and prepare for the future. So we have several projects driven by government, also several institutions. So we are focusing on IT related work recently.
Yeah. Madam Na, yes, Madam Na, you know, access to finance is important, but access to digital tools which will ease access to finance are also important. And in this pandemic area, we understood the importance of digital inclusion. For example, in the United States, research showed that 11 million students don't have access to computer, don't have access to internet. So what do you think about this? Because we are talking about bringing online education, online health services to citizens. But on the other hand, there are citizens who have no access to digital tools. They don't have access to internet. What could be a response to this situation? And do you think governments should be more involved in developing the digital inclusion so in the future we can use online education, online health services, and online financial services more? What do you think about this?
Totally, I agree. Before using the IT technologies, we have to set up the all infrastructure, like a high-speed network and several things. All over the world, we are the same situation, I know. But some, for example, the Microsoft, Bill Gates, he invested some huge money to develop some countries, right? So we kind of invest our knowledge and our funding to set up the whole infrastructure. Beyond that, we can use the IT technology, and through that we learn and more through the internet access.
I see. Okay. Thank you very much for your contribution. And Dr. Abdel Latif, could you please also give some insights from your institution and what is happening in Egypt as a response to COVID to empower women in economies, and what could be the policies you would recommend to support women entrepreneurs while transforming their businesses in the new normal?
All right. When you talk about women in Egypt, when we talk actually about women in general, I think it's very, very important that we start by taking it in a more macro picture. Women have the society. The issue is not only to solve the problems of women at the micro level, but actually to address the issue of women, generally speaking, at the level of the entire economy, we have half the population. Women consist of half the population in Egypt, like in most other countries, but they consist of no more than 24% of the workforce. Okay, so you are not using your full facilities. And so when you talk about the situation after COVID, it's important to say that whether we simply want businesses to go back to their normal before the COVID situation, or the COVID itself is a chance for us to revisit the issue of women and really create a power out of them, especially that studies proved that over the next 10 years, GDP can increase in Egypt by 34% if women get the same job opportunities as men. So it's important to start with this. Another key important point also that one has to mention, when it's about women, women have always had certain specific problems, okay? And these problems did not really change much before COVID or after COVID. They are the same problems. The only thing that happened is that the problems became more magnified, clearer, okay? The weakness in the system became clearer in that area. A third point also that's important to mention is that many of the problems that women face are also faced by men, okay? Depending on the line of work that you are in, okay? There are certain stages where women have particular problems, but there are other stages. The minute you start a project and this project is starting to be a real business, your issues, you and the men, are not really terribly different from each other. And one last point of distinction, again, very quickly, before I talk about specifically about my institution and about Egypt, that it's important to distinguish between micro enterprises and between everything else. Because micro enterprises are projects that fight poverty in the first place. They are dealing with very small tickets of loans. And in the case of Egypt, this is actually dealt by NGOs and so on, not even by the regular banking system. SMEs are a different story altogether, okay? And here, most of their problems are similar to the ones that are faced by men, with certain exceptions. Having said that, ECS has always had an interest in women, and we try to approach the issue of women differently than the usual, not simply listing the problems that are faced by women, but try to pinpoint the problems that are specific to women and not anyone else. Because like I said, there are problems that are faced by everybody in the business cycle. So the question, what is specific about women and what is not? And we had, a big survey, and the big survey showed very clearly that there are 4 factors that are very, very relevant. One is what you mentioned, and the Korean lady mentioned about the access to technology. Very, very critical. It makes all the difference. Exposure to experiences. Women who are living in the countryside and who have not been exposed to anything are different from the ones that are in the city and have seen projects and have seen work. Ability to move, transportation, okay, and availability of information about the projects. And information is the area where an institution like mine could easily get into. And so what we did is produce a brochure that helps women start a business, a brochure that had all the information that they need, a brochure that involves the opportunities that are available in Egypt, all the steps that they go through as they start a business, what are the pitfalls that they could face and how to get over them. Because we noticed that women get their information, most of the time they get it from family members, or they get it, from talks. They don't know enough. So the information is critical, and we had a big contribution in this area. Another contribution related to COVID directly, our center produced around 10 studies looking at the impact of COVID-19 on all sectors, because women are involved in all sectors. So whatever is affecting the sectors is also affecting the women as well. And they are mostly focused, women are mostly focused in education and in health and in certain businesses as well. As far as the last point in your question concerning specific recommendations, okay, let me tell you, 50% of the women in Egypt are working in the informal sector. And I know that this applies a lot also in Africa and in lots of other countries. So one of the key issues that have to be addressed is this issue of informality. The informal sector is the first sector to lose jobs during the COVID-19. And so as we return, the idea is not to return women to the jobs in the informal sector, but rather to formalize the informal sector in a way that gives women proper working environment and good opportunities for work. This is one. A second one, there are all sorts of institutional issues that have to be handled. Access to finance, by the way, on paper, in regulations is exactly the same for men and women. Okay, but what happens that is different is the way that they are treated in the banks, especially when it comes to the bigger projects. If there is a guy and a gal that are going to get a loan, the banker is going to sympathize more with the man than with the woman, because they feel that he's the bread earner in the family. So I should, if I pay my attention, I should give it more to this than to that. This needs to change, and this means training of bankers, putting KPIs for their performance in relation to women's project, improving the skills of women, and definitely improving the technology access. I don't want to take longer time. If there are questions after it.
Thank you, Dr. Latif. You highlighted a very important detail. You highlighted the importance of data-driven approach to challenges in women entrepreneurship issue. You say men and women, there is no difference in the policies. If you are talking about access to finance, I don't agree with you. Because in some countries, especially in Islamic countries, women have to get the authorization and permit of their husbands to get loan and credit from the banks. I think this is an important challenge, and this is what we have to consider while talking about the promoting equality. Madam Pakina, can I ask you what is pandemic issues brought the responsible finance and impact investment terminology to our dictionary, investment dictionary more. So I think it will be good to hear from you what your institution does to promote responsible finance and impact investments for women entrepreneurs and for economies. What is OEC doing? And yes, floor is yours.
Yes, I will talk briefly about the microfinance and the impact of microfinance on women empowerment, especially because ICCIA project is regarding established microfinance project in G5 Sahel country. I know I have a limited time, so I will share a small presentation. I will skip some info. Here we have some statistics proving the power and the importance of microfinance on women empowerment economically. Like, for example, 4 out of 5 microfinance borrowers in 2018 were women. It's around the world, and it showed the impact of microfinance on the ability to women to make decisions and enhance their socio-economic. Also, I think it's an interesting statistics show that despite of 85% of the poorest microfinance clients are women, but they also score higher repayment rates and more committed to repayment schedule. The impact of microfinance not only on women, but also on their children, families, and their communities. The microfinance project of ICCIA is established microfinance institutions in G5 Sahel countries, Mali, Mauritania, Niger, Chad, and Burkina Faso. We have a similar experience in Sudan in 2008, and it's a very, very successful experience proving the support of microfinance on women there in Sudan to start their own businesses of a family bank in Sudan. Now we will generalize in cooperation with OIC, for sure, we will generalize the same experience on OIC countries, starting with G5 Sahel countries because of the situation and their need, their situation of women economically there and their need. For example, we have, we know that the formal accounts, the families with formal accounts or relationship with financial institution doesn't exceed 25%. However, the region is just home for 2% of microfinance institutions around the world. However, in the last year, starting for 2015, the impact of microfinance has been increased in G5 Sahel countries. Here, some statistics show the gross loan portfolios in female. So this is the announcement. Actually, the major aims of ICCIA, Islamic Chamber of Commerce, Industry and Agriculture, is making policies related to the private sector act as an engine to mobilize investment and development the private sector and the representatives. So now we are in a stage, stop sharing. Now we are in a stage of preparing the study, the franchise model of Family Bank, the microfinance institutions in G5 Sahel countries, containing all the details. It being prepared by an international consortium team specialized in the microfinance and in Africa, especially on women. The microfinance institution will focus on women and youth. So it will support the women in these countries to start their own businesses and the entrepreneurial in general. Once the study is preparing, we will start the implementation there in the implementation country. We didn't determine yet the first implementation country. It will be determined based on the readiness and their needs. That's why we are in touch with the national team there, with the Ministry of Economy, Ministry of Women, and also Chamber of Commerce, and a coordinator from the private sector to determine their needs and their readiness to implementation the microfinance institution and the awareness of women entrepreneurial in these countries.
Okay, you know, in many countries, there is a new trend. Women investor groups are established to invest in women and support women. So women investors are coming together with the purpose of investing in businesses and startup ideas of young women entrepreneurs or women entrepreneurs. So Islamic Chamber of Commerce, for example, does it have such kind of an agenda to initiate such kind of a group bringing women together to invest in women entrepreneurs? Is there such kind of a thing in the agenda?
Yes, of course, it's one of the agenda. That's why we coordinate with OIC and with the national team there to spread awareness about the investment of women. And it will be more determined once we determine the first country of implementation, because as you may know, it's about not all the countries have the same need and the same awareness of women. And the statistics show that the microfinance has a very good impact in last years on women investment. So we will spread the awareness first, then we will start the microfinance institutions.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Kamal.
You're most welcome.
I am moving to chair of the Nigerian bank, Madam Awosika. Madam Awosika, what do you think about this responsible finance issue first? Because you are in the banking area, and you said you are also an entrepreneur in your daily life. As a bank manager, so you speak the same language with entrepreneurs as a bank manager. Of course, we can open this issue to discussion, but this is not our topic. So what do you think about responsible finance, and how does your bank put this to its agenda to support women entrepreneurs?
Okay, thank you very much. For me, in terms of a bank being responsible, one of the ways we look at it from First Bank is, especially for an institution that predates the country in itself. If you have a country that is 60 years old and you have a bank in the country that is 125 years old, what that tells you is that financial institution is a major fabric of the development of the society itself. So as a bank, we're used to helping to build the economic parameters of the country. And women are a key part of the economy of Nigeria. Never mind, like in most other parts of the world, they haven't always had their fair share, but there is a lot that is being done. There's a major project that we've been driving for the past 3 years, or 4 years now, actually. And it's called First Gem. Our commitment through First Gem is first to teach women how to build personal wealth from their economic activity, not just to support them in making sure that their businesses thrive by finding the necessary support, financial support system for them, which we're doing. But what we're also doing is helping them to build assets from their economic activity. Because what you would find is a lot of women who are involved even in business actually drive through they go through a tidy sum, but they are not used to being the wealth builders in their family. That is left for the husband to do. And if in a case you have a husband that marries more than one wife, or if life happens to the husband, he dies, loses his job, his business goes down and all of that, the women are not in a position to support or help their family. And it becomes important to teach them to think about their economic income in a way that they build wealth from it, but also in building wealth from it, they build assets that support their ability to get the right kind of financing that they also need to grow their businesses. So we've tied funding of businesses and wealth building in the lives of the women together so that we can create a better value for the women. And there are many areas that you find women are strong players. We look at that very effectively, because when you are deliberately looking at areas where women are actively engaged within the economy, and you're creating opportunities for them in that area, then you help them to become empowered to get the kind of resource. And part of what we do under the First Gem project is also to be responsible as a bank by not just insisting that they need commercial bank money like ours. Through the First Gem project, we open them up to knowledge about different kinds of funding that are available. Those that are cheaper than commercial banking money, that can help them either through grants or developmental money that will help their businesses, and then they use commercial bank money or services as an addition to it. So we, with our sense of responsibility, we're not being selfish in terms of what will benefit us. We know that if they prosper overall as their commercial banker, we get a lot more value from that. And personally for me, being an entrepreneur and then having the privilege to sit on both sides as the chair of a bank, I could look at both factors, not the way a regular banker would look at it, but look at it from both sides and see where the gaps are, and then encourage the bank to develop solutions that fill that gap and help the women to achieve their goals. But also the goals of both sides must find a place of synergy where they work together, so that we're creating value for the women, but we're also creating value for the institution. And in creating value for both, we're creating value for our country. Because once the economy, and First Bank is not just a Nigerian bank, we operate in multiple countries across Africa, and we have a bank in the UK, in France, and we have a liaison operation in Beijing. So in all the areas where we work, our focus is in creating a synergy between the women as a specific group as we work with the general populace, but also finding how we benefit them, benefit that economy, and ultimately benefit our own institution. So for us, it's a win-win agenda that we play. Otherwise, I think that is a short-term game. And as I say to people, you don't have an institution survive for 120, in fact, we're 126 years this year, except that they have always been able to be communal-minded and long-term playing. That's how institutions survive for that long. You play for the long term, the benefit of the society, which ultimately becomes the benefit of the institution. Thank you.
Great. I think your bank is trying to convert uh, finance for entrepreneurs to smart finance by connecting finance with education. This is a great approach. Congratulations, because women, as a matter of fact, today need more than finance. They also need know-how, mentorship, and network. So I think I have to congratulate you for approaching the issue by including education to the pipeline, and it will be a good role model for other banks too. Madam Abosika, thank you very much for this approach.
My pleasure.
I want to move to Ms. Jeong because she wants to share some insights, I think, from Korea. Please, Ms. Jeong.
Yes, I have some materials to share with you.
We have 8 minutes, so I have to move to Ms. Demir after you. I think she will also share something, and then we will close the session.
Okay. Women in Science, Engineering, and Technology in Korea, we are a non-profit corporation under the government, Ministry of Trade, Industry, and Energy. It was established in 2004, and we have currently 1,900 members, all women, working in the industry and academics in the research institute, majored in science and engineering people. Let me introduce the project we are carrying out every year basis. Due to the pregnancy and take care of children, women are often faced with difficulties in maintaining their career. So we provide practical training session for women who are in a career breaks to help them get back to work. And also, every year we publish the book containing the success story about 20 female engineers. The book title is Women Engineers Changing the World. This book is distributed free of charge to school and libraries. So this photo is a collection of 14 book covers already published, and the volume 15 is coming soon in this November. And also we hold a forum related to woman-friendly policy making, such as how we utilize the female scientists and the engineers in a situation where the overall population is declining, or how we can expand the job opportunity for women in science and engineering. So another one is we have organized gathering events to build networking among members. So we support strengthening leadership and successful career development. These are the major project on our organization, YTech, that is constantly running on. So I'm gonna share with you what we are doing currently for especially women in science and technology engineering people. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me move immediately to Madam Demir, and let's listen to her presentation. Zeynep Demir. I think she's not here now. That's fine. We have because only 5 minutes. Dear audience, World Business Angels Investment Forum, as an affiliated partner of the G20 Global Partnership for Financial Inclusion, as a women leaders and entrepreneurs committee, which is chaired by Swati Mandela, who is the granddaughter of Nelson Mandela. And I invite you to visit the wbaforum.org website to learn more about the mission. And I invite you to join all these efforts too. And you can become a committee member, subcommittee member. We have also STI, Science, Technology, and Innovation Committee, chaired by Princess Nesrine of the United Nations. It will be great to have your contribution globally. I think Zeynep Demir came. Is she around here? No. Okay, that's great. Is there anyone who wants to add a few more sentences, because we have 4 more minutes and then we can close the session.
Yes,
Dr. Latif, please.
Yes, hi. I just wanted to respond to your comment, okay? All right?
Okay.
I wouldn't let that go, would I? I was talking about Egypt. I was not talking about the other countries. And I agree with you that in other countries it is the case. But I have to tell you that all conditions against women are easing, even in the toughest country as far as women are concerned, which is Saudi Arabia. Okay? This was the country where the toughest conditions existed. Everything is improving as far as women are concerned. One last thing about Egypt, and it will change your opinion about what is happening here, that we're outside this group for sure. And I think Pakinam would confirm this about Egypt. When men take loans in the micro projects, the guarantor is the wife. The guarantor that he's going to repay the money is the wife. And usually they all pay, women around their neck, and so they actually pay the money. So we are good. Okay.
Yes, I agree with you.
You are right. And by the way, consumer decision comes from women, and economies are driven by women consumers. So it is really very important to have more women inclusion, not only at the consuming stage, but also at the decision stage of production, of marketing, of designing innovations. Madam Awosaki, please, you can contribute too.
Okay, I was just going to say that's the real basis for the drive to have gender balance on many boards. You know, as I work across various boards, that's a major reason, because, I mean, let me give you an example. I serve on the board of Cadbury, and Cadbury makes chocolate drinks and, or you know, Mondelez Group. Cadbury is part of the Mondelez Group now and all of that. I mean, like you said, most household spending decisions are taken, 80% of it, by women. And they're the ones who shop and buy grocery for a household. So if you have a board in a company like that is largely men, and you have few women, wrong decisions will be made, because the experience that would affect the kind of decisions that you make positively, those who are sitting at the table to make that decision have not had it on a regular basis. And they will need to learn either from their wife or have women at the table to save the company from making the wrong, simple, sometimes very simple decisions, but that will be fundamental in affecting the results of the company. So pushing for women to be actively engaged in a different decision-making level is not about challenging or wanting to take the place of men. It's about creating a balanced table where the right kind of decisions, like I'm chairman of First Bank, but I'm the first woman in 125 years. When I became chair, it was 122 years. They never had a woman, you know. And well, the heavens haven't fallen. I've been chair now for 4 years, and the heavens haven't fallen, which shows that things don't get worse because women come to the table. They probably get better because you now have 2 eyes. If you close one eye and you walk with one eye, you're not going to have a full view of the situation. But when your 2 eyes are working together, you get a broad view of a situation and you make better decisions. So that's for anybody who is in any, even in your household, and it starts from the families. Are you educating your daughters right? Are you empowering them or putting them in a position where they're able to make the right choices? Or are you taking cultural decisions that limit the opportunity for your daughters to participate in economic activity? If the population of a country is 50% women, and you don't allow the women to actively engage in the economic activity, then you kill the men trying to use 50% of the population of the country to drive 100% of the country. You are already an underperforming economy because it means that your resources are not fully geared. As a business person, will I lock up 50% of my assets and not allow it to function? Those are the factors that we need to put on the table, because that ultimately affects the design of financing and inclusion of women in the financial system. When the system decides that women must, it will design financial solutions that will support their ability to do it more effectively. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Dear distinguished speakers, I'm grateful to the participants of this particular roundtable for your helpful comments and suggestions and insights. World Business Angels Investment Forum gratefully acknowledges the efforts of the UNIDO Bahrain under the leadership of Dr. Hashim Hussein for their support to women entrepreneurship in Islamic countries and globally. I hope you all found this session a rewarding experience in your entrepreneurial journey. And thank you for joining us today. Let's keep in touch. All the best.